The Tasty Freeze, located in Montezuma, Indiana. We offer over 32 soft-serve flavors of creamy, delicious ice cream, hand-breaded pork tenderloin, famous homemade pony sauce, and don't forget our roasted chicken.
Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again.
Open Tuesday through Sunday, 10:30 to 9:30. To place an order, call 765-245-2887. We appreciate your business.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I want to thank everybody for coming. We got some business to do today. Call the meeting to order with that, but before we start our regular business, I got an item here I would like for us to vote on and to sign. If you didn't know, the Parke Heritage dance team went to state contests over the weekend, and our dance team are state champions in 2 classifications, pom as well as jazz. So we like to recognize that. So what I have before me here is something that I just put together, and we'll vote on that in a second. It says, on Sunday, March 3rd, 2024, the Parke Heritage Dance Team earned the title of state champion in 2 separate competitions, pom and jazz. On behalf of the people of Parke County, the Parke County Board of Commissioners sends our congratulations to team members Abby Lash, Olivia Lear, Michaela Ricketts, Donatella Mutka, Marta Jacks, Marley Jeffers, the coaches Amanda Games, Courtney Lash. In recognition of this outstanding achievement, the Commissioners declare that in Parke County, Friday, March 8th, 2024 will be Parke Heritage High School Dance Team Day. I make the motion that we adopt this.
And I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And I have one here with fancy paper we can sign before we get away, so don't let's not forget to do that. All right. Minutes were sent to us, and we probably have them with us here, I suspect, too.
That is not good.
Dan wasn't here, so I make the motion, we approve the minutes of February 19th, 2024.
And I would second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thanks, ma'am. All right, we have one payroll to approve today, and that'd be the Union Hospital Security of $7,196.16.
I make a motion, we approve the Union Hospital payroll for $7,196.16.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, then we need to acknowledge receipt of payroll claims accounts payable report in the amount of $419,556.63.
This is for 2 pays, that's why it's so large.
Okay.
I make a motion, we acknowledge and receive the payroll claims in the amount of $419,556.63.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This is the 4th today?
Yep.
Okay.
And there's 2 accounts payable. We
Okay.
slipped up and missed some, so we ran another batch.
Okay. So it looks like the total amount is about $1,058,000.
Pretty close.
Yep. Okay, we have 2 accounts payable claims to approve. One, the amount of $699,093.56, and the other $359,803.37.
I make a motion, we approve claims in the amount presented by Jim.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. You have any out-of-cycle requests?
No, we don't.
Okay. somebody remind me one of these days to order chairs. The council wants us to order chairs, and I never can think to do that. It's been a busy time. Bicolor on that one. Okay. Then we have a claim to acknowledge here from Travelers Insurance.
I just wanted you to see it.
Okay.
It's for an AT&T Dent box. And you see so many of those not repaired.
Yeah. We had a lot of them were torn apart or.
Yeah.
There are a mess of them, yep. Okay. And then we have, well, we'll get there in a minute then. I have a couple things. You approved, did Donna Whitmer get hold of you about getting wheels on the lawn? Did she get hold of you yet?
Yeah, it's in our packet here. I
Oh, is it
think.
okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so we can go ahead and do it. I'm gonna bring that up.
See if I can find it.
There it is. Right before the bumping. So we have a request here from Donna Whitmer. April is Prevent Child Abuse Month, and she is requesting to place their banner and pinwheels as they've done in the past on the northwest corner of the courthouse lawn. And they would be placing them on April 3rd and leave them there for the month of April. So I make a motion that we approve that.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Will you let her know it's been approved? Okay. And let's see what else I have here. We have some work orders come in. In fact, we just had one on some things that we had already approved, but as a work order comes in, or if Don has to order a part, it's cumbersome if we have to get me or one of us to go in and sign the authorization for the purchase on those. So I'd like us to consider authorizing Don to sign work orders, $2,500 or less, just to save us having to come in and
Yeah, I
sign
don't
them.
have a problem with it.
And would only be on approved projects that we've already done.
Right.
That'd be my motion that we
And
approve
I'll
that.
second it.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and the other we have, it's on here, are we ready with the no weapons in the courthouse stuff?
You guys approved that last week,
Okay.
And it's been in the paper.
or last meeting, yeah.
Did we sign anything though?
Yeah,
We
we
did have one,
signed
I
it.
didn't remember having one signed. Okay, I got asked about that. I didn't remember having the document in front of us.
And
Okay.
it's been published in the paper.
Okay, great, okay. All right, Juan Ramirez, typically new commissioner's office?
Well, he just left me a message.
Okay, I didn't see that.
It's pink.
So pink.
He was wanting to know if a decision had been made on the LEAP Lebanon project.
Yes,
This is-
and you can tell them, no, I can tell them what that is, just real briefly. Indiana Economic Development Corporation got way ahead of itself, and they were made a corporation so they could act quickly to try to attract business coming into Indiana. They decided on their own without any legislation, any approval from Indiana Finance Authority or anyone. They took it upon themselves and began to purchase land in Boone County at really high prices of property. Their hope there is to create a situation where businesses can come into central Indiana, and they're looking at a couple of $1 billion businesses. One of them be a chip industry, don't even know for sure it's coming or not. Two things really make it difficult where they're talking about doing it. One is energy, not enough electricity there, so they would have to do something about that. And the second is those are both high water demand businesses, and there's not sufficient water there, so they were looking at tapping the aquifer in Tippecanoe County. That's why Tippecanoe's commissioners are represented by him. Tapping the aquifer, taking as much as 700 million gallons a day out of that aquifer, and send it down to Lebanon with a 48-inch pipeline. And then as it was used and cleaned and sent back out, then it would go on to Marion County and other counties and that type of thing. Once that got out that was being done, a lot of folks were upset with that because it hadn't been studied what was going to be the effect of taking out 700 million gallons a day every day from that aquifer. Well, nobody knows. So it's been put on pause, and the governor has ordered the Indiana Finance Authority to do a study, and I've met with the gentleman who's doing the study. He was at Commissioners Conference, and they are beginning to look to see what impact that would be. Some commissioners, Brian Kearns, for example, the former commissioner from Parke County, has a program that he will gladly bring and show where he foresees damage by that, but nobody knows yet because the studies have not been done. I have been getting, as I suspect you guys have too, a lot of notification from other counties and other people wanting us to do a ordinance or a resolution or pass something saying that we are against this. I'm not willing to do that because there's nothing for us to be against yet. Nothing specifically has been proposed to take action. The state is paying for the study to be done by the IFA for this company to do the study on the water usage. So one of the fights is about local control, that water supply should be local control and not state control. I agree with that to some point. I agree with that to surface water. I agree with that to surface wells. I don't know that I agree to that with aquifer because we here in Parke County may not want Fountain County or Tippecanoe to decide to sell 700 millions of gallons from the southern part of Tippecanoe County to every place else, because that may affect us down here. So I may not want those local authorities making that decision, but we just don't know. So if you talk to him again, if he calls, my only hesitation is there is no set plan proposed to do.
If he asks questions that I can't answer.
You can call me, yeah. I've got emails from him, I've talked to him already.
In that packet, there's his phone number.
Okay. Yeah. And they just really impatient. They want all the commissioners, all the counties to pass this ordinance saying we're against this plan. There is no plan for us to be against, so I'm not really used to being against something until I know what the plan is, if I'm against it or not. I'm not in favor of state dictating to us on issues that I think should be home control issues. But at the same time, I don't want one county being able to make decisions that are going to drastically affect another county. So somebody's got to figure this out. And before we figure it out, I mean, you got to figure it out before you make these decisions on what you're going to be for, what you're going to be against. So if you should contact you again. So it's not that we're in favor of the leap. It's not that we're opposed to the leap. We don't know. There's no.
Well, I think, from what I've seen, and there's a good reason to do it. I mean, when you show solidarity, and if all the towns and the counties pass this similar ordinance, they showed solidarity that, hey, we don't like this or we don't agree with this. But in the end, the ordinance itself or the resolution isn't binding of any kind. It's just telling the governor or telling IFA or telling whoever that, hey, we really don't like this, but it's not going to change what decision they end up making. Okay, so I don't know.
Well, it may.
It may or it may not. I mean, if they look at what locals have to say, they may say, well, if everybody's against it, then maybe. But I've been around, that a lot, and many times they don't necessarily take that into consideration.
Yeah. And it may turn out that I am against.
Yeah,
but there is no it yet to be against.
Yeah.
We've not seen it.
Other than just the concept of it.
Yeah. So I don't know that I'm opposed to it. If it came back that aquifer was perfectly equal-handed, I don't know why they can't either recycle it, send it back to the aquifer if they get done with it. You can pump it to Boone County, you can certainly pump it back to Tippecanoe County. You could do a Vestal Lake or a Vestal Ditch, sufficient water supply that would go back into the aquifer. In fact, I talked to this with the professor who was doing the study, and he said, well, yeah, they could do a lake, which actually may be cheaper to build that lake than it would be to build the pipeline and run the pipeline every day from Tippecanoe County down there pumping 700 million gallons.
I think part of it too, Marion County's needing the water, and
Yeah, it's a
that's
good way
why
to
you
get
want
it. Yeah. So I think they just all need to take a breath, wait till the study comes in, see what the effects would be, then see what the plan would be. And then, I mean, I'm not telling anybody else what to think. It's just for me, I'm not willing to say I'm against something that I don't know what that something is that I'm saying I'm against. I'd rather wait and see what it is. So anyway, that's what that's about, if he should contact us again. Okay, I think I had something else. Let me see if I
Chris has something, but it's in your packet, but I forgot to write it.
Oh, okay. Go ahead, Chris, what you got?
That's the contract to get the replacement console down at the dispatch. You guys had approved the bid last meeting. This is just the contract.
Okay.
if I could just get a signature on that, we'll
Okay.
start moving forward.
Okay.
And just one other thing is we have the solar eclipse. It's gonna happen on the 8th of April.
Yep.
And in the newspaper. Hey, what Parke County can expect is a lot of traffic after 3 o'clock on those going north up towards the population centers around Chicago.
Right.
It'll probably last, I don't have a professional estimate, but maybe 6 hours, maybe until midnight. And so I've already talked with a couple people about this. I think the county's well prepared. We're only gonna have problems with communication. It's just gonna be a lot of the stuff in the
Yes.
state system. But besides that, there shouldn't be any big issues except for a lot of traffic.
Good. One of the things I'm getting asked, we haven't discussed yet, what was going to happen with the courthouse. I'm getting calls from Clay County and Vermillion County, other counties, to see if we're going to close it down that day or close half the day so people can be with their families. We're going to have to talk about that and see what we're going to do, but it lasts from like 3:03 to 3:12, so about like that 9 minutes, so.
The total, well, it's only 2 minutes here in Rock.
Of the actual, totality, but all the leading up to start to phase in and then the phase out, yeah.
For what it's worth, I won't be at the courthouse that afternoon.
Okay, and to me, that's, if people want to take a personal day, that's fine. You want to take a personal day, be with your family, I think that's a great reason to do that, so I have no problem with that. That's your vacation time, so. So we'll have to make a decision here, we'll talk about that probably today and see where we are, but I signed that contract, so you should be good to go.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks. I think that is all that I had then. All right, so on to old business. We've been talking for the last couple of years, back to about 2020, we began talking about how the difficulty with the handmade exemption for the transient merchant license. What's difficult about that is trying to determine what degree of handmade makes it handmade. The transient merchant license legislation is pretty clear on what that is. There's only two categories for which it even qualifies, and that would be that if it's grown by the person who's doing it. Let's see. Or manufactured by the retailer. Yeah, either grown by him or manufactured by that retailer.
By hand.
I pointed out that a member of our audience today has been around the beginning of the festival as I have.
She's been around longer than that.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. Let's go on.
We're gonna put that in
But
paper.
we recall that when this was created back, I think '82 is when it was passed. The transient merchant license already was in existence before our transient merchant license legislation. There already was one in place. And this then allowed the Parke County then to have a transient merchant license. And I think originally it was $25, if I recall right. Is that what you remember, about $25? And we raised it to $35. And Merrill Thompson thought it was going to fall apart, that the festival was going to be over. I remember having a meeting down in Bridgeton, and it's just amazing meeting. The state statute said it could be $100. So we took it to $100 some years ago here. And I have had many discussions with people who, like me, who were eligible for transient merchant, for the handmade exemption on the transient merchant license. But it was never intended for us, those of us who make large amounts of product for sale. That was created, that was included in the legislation to try to protect the mom and pop operations. The festival was started in 1957 as a market for local farmers and local people to have a place to sell the things that they make out of their houses. It was never intended to be used by commercial people like myself. But it's been allowed to be used by commercial people like myself, making large quantities of product. That was not the intent, and it's gotten worse. What's gotten worse about it is we will bring people. Is it really? I'm ready to dance. I don't know what that is. Okay, I don't know what that is. Something. So anyway, it was created to help those mom and pops do their business. It's been allowed to get larger and larger and not be curtailed. The tough part is try to identify what is handmade, what's not, what's just assembled. So the auditor's office, unfortunately, was always stuck with that obligation of having to try to determine what was handmade and what was eligible for the exemption, which wasn't. There are other exemptions for the transient merchant license. Veterans, not-for-profit if you're not-for-profit, you don't have to pay that $100 TML, which I hope to be able to change also, because those not-for-profits make thousands and thousands of dollars for their great organizations, but I think, to me, they should help pay for this product that results in them raising thousands of dollars. I mean, why should the people of Parke County, or even the other merchants, why should they pay for that not-for-profit that takes thousands and thousands of dollars home without chipping in a pot and help pay for it? So we're going to work on that as well. But the whole purpose of this change now, we're not looking to do away with the handmade exemption, which I would do if we could, but it's in the legislation. But the description of what handmade is not, and that's what we're addressing. So the auditor and I have had discussions on this. She is one of those people who would fall in that category of small amounts of handmade product, not commercialization, not thousands of dollars of product out there, multiple booths maybe being sold someplace. Those are the things we need to stop. So I've had multiple conversations with people who are going, this will go away from, and I pay for mine anyway, even though I'm eligible, I pay for the TML, just because I think we should. The argument always comes down to it's $100. It's $10 a day. You're being asked, with your business making thousands of dollars, you're being asked to chip in $10 a day to put this festival on. I don't think that's unreasonable. And I have never, and in the many of them I've had conversations with, I've never had anyone disagree with that. They may disagree with the philosophy of what's handmade and what's not handmade, what's the level. If you're and jewelry was always the most difficult one, was because are you really handmade if you're not making any of the items on your jewelry product? You're just hooking them together and putting them together. Is that really hand making a product? Then you have other artists who actually they extrude their own wire, they do the whole works, but they're in the same category as someone who opens up a box of daubles, or whatever you call those, bubbles, I guess, the word is, and put them together. I don't think so, because it makes it very complicated for the auditor's office, and they're the ones who always catch all the wrath about this decision. So what I've put together here is an explanation of just what I said, that we're going to try to limit that to the original thoughts, at least my idea, and I'm open to any number. This is just a draft. This is nothing we're going to vote on today. It's not a draft. But try to limit it to vendors who sell $1,000 or less of product. And you're going to have to be able to show that you sell $1,000 less of product. If you make more than that, that still doesn't guarantee that you're going to be granted the handmade exemption. It just means that you're eligible for the handmade exemption because your sales numbers are low enough to make you qualify. In addition to that, then, if that number one is satisfied, then the product must be either grown, this is legislation now, the product must be either grown or manufactured by the retailer. Assembly does not count as manufacturing. If you go to any site, talk about anything, cars cannot say that they are manufactured in the United States unless they're beyond a certain percentage of the assembly. A certain percentage of the parts have to be made here. They can be said they are assembled in the United States, but they can't say manufactured in the United States. So
now, importantly, that $1,000 limit, per our conversation last week, that's for the year, not for the festival.
for the year,
correct?
$1,000 a year.
That's important to be
This
stressed.
is to be for, none of you are old enough to remember, I am. We used to have little old ladies who made doilies. They would do crochet. Pam remembers these people. She was just a little kid on my knee when I took her around the festival showing her these things. I remember the lady next to us made handmade jellies and jams and all the sauces she would make. And she didn't make $1,000. She'd be excited if she had $100 worth of sales coming over after the festival was over that day. That's who it was intended to try to keep. Not intended for the me's of the world. We were going to go home with $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 at the end of the festival. That's not what it's for. If I'm going to make that much money, I ought to be paying to help put this festival on, and I do. So that's what that's all about. So I don't want people thinking that we are out to get any handmade person at all. That's not the case. We're just trying to get back to what it was. We're not doing away with the handmade exemption. We're trying to take it back to what it was originally intended for. So that is the intent. So when people come in for the handmade exemption, we have talked with the auditor's office, and John's the person who was in Jessica's seat, who Jessica had before, of trying to make that determination on the TML, that if there's any question on those, just have them contact me or contact us, and we'll try to explain it as best we can. So if you have $1,000, if that number is a good number for you, if you want a bigger number, that's okay too. So
I think it should be raised a little bit because the price of the stuff that we buy
What
to
number would you
make
be
it.
think of? Because you are one of those people who handmade.
Because
a small amount of
everything
stuff.
I buy to make all my stuff has gone up in price.
Should we make it $1,500?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm fine with that. And that's just the input we need, because I am not one of you. I make more than that stuff, so. I mean, I'm certainly qualified for handmade. Maple syrup obviously is grown at home and handmade. I mean, I make it at home. Nothing goes in making that other than just boiling it, so that's it. But I think we should pay to help put that on. So I'm okay with changing that to $1,500. And you guys have a question on that. And then if you do meet that $1,500, then you have to meet the other two requirements that you had to either grow it yourself or you had to manufacture it yourself, meaning you manufactured all of it yourself. Another one I have, and I have a great friend, and we've had this discussion before, that makes candles. Not the gin on the square, but another one. But really, all she does, she gets fancy jars and she buys already made candle wax and puts the string in it and pours it full of wax and thinks that's handmade. That, to me, there's no part of that handmade. You didn't
I
make
like
that.
the phrase handcrafted.
Yeah, yeah. So it's not handmade, and that's what the exemption is for, handmade items. So
It's homemade but not handmade.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
yeah. So we're talking about size basically. So if you sell $1,500 a year less than that, then we'll carry it. And there's not going to be very many people that's going to take care of, and those should be taken care of to me. But if you're over that threshold, then it's not even going to apply to you, no matter what, no matter how you make it or what it comes to, it doesn't apply to you. Does that make sense? You guys okay with that?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Well, I'd like to give you another couple weeks to think on that before we vote on that, and Nick will look at it and see if he wants to create an ordinance to do that. We can attach this to us as an exhibit or however you want to do with that.
Yeah, I can put an ordinance together for you guys to look at.
But we go ahead and direct the auditor's office that you have our permission, and we're supporting you with going with that idea as written in the thing that I gave you, and then let's change it to 1,500 over 1,000, and then we'll codify that. Then once we get an ordinance in place, if we're still in agreement, that's how it ought to be. Then we'll do that, and there really won't be many people upset. Some, but if they're a big commercial market and they can't come to the Covered Bridge Festival, which is going to see maybe 1 million people or more, if $100 is going to make or break you, you probably need to stay home anyway. So, I mean, if they raise gas prices while you're gone, you're going to pay that much to get back home. So you probably shouldn't have taken that risk and done that. So I hope it all works out. But this in my heart, how it needs to be. It's what we're going to do. So, okay. So that's that part. All right. You guys have any old business? Anything coming up?
I think
Okay. Well, let's go on to departments then. Randy, what you got?
Oh, a whole lot. We're about halfway through on the 5,000 ton of material being hauled.
Great.
And then most of it's still there. We've just been getting the load out there of an evening.
Okay.
Because we've been hauling ourselves too. And we're still patching. One crew's on Marshall Road, from Marshall to Rockville, and they're about 2/3 done with it.
Great.
And they go to Niceville Road, 400 east, over toward Judson Way. And I got one crew down in Rosedale, doing all those roads around there. And I got another crew in the south part of Penn Township. And the fourth truck is down, so it's up Lafayette, being worked on.
Is that the one with the deaf issue?
No, that's one with engine problem.
Oh, okay. I was amazed how quickly the road settled down. I thought it was going to be a really ugly spring. But I can tell just on the lack of water in the maple woods, when the water dried up there, we couldn't make maple syrup. I'm driving my truck, not the four-wheeler or the tractor. I'm driving my truck places I've never been able to drive my truck before, just because it's always been so wet. It is just bone dry now.
Yeah, it is. We've been over I think, almost all the gravel roads.
Great.
We're starting back over again. There's some spots we still need to add material to. So we'll get those took care of. And we are on 4 10-hour days now.
Okay. And I would want to get with you, and now the maple's over, probably next week. I'd like to have lunch or something, you and I first, just to go over the job description of what you've got, because I know you're gonna have some things you're gonna wanna add to that, something you think ought to be done differently. And then I'd like these gentlemen's approval to call a road committee meeting, to let them also go through it. I gave those samples that you gave me of the job descriptions to the council, to let them look at it too. Because we just need to have a joint meeting to come up with a viable job description, so when we go to market to try to find someone to fill your shoes, it's just not a job I ever wanted to have to do, but we have to, and
I think it needs to be sooner rather than
it
later.
does. Well, that's our goal, to have somebody hired by mid-April, hopefully, and the council's okay with that. So if we get started next week, that'll give us 4 to 5 weeks to find somebody and begin. I met with the highway department the other morning, explained to them how we're doing that. There were rumors out there that some people are going to be excluded, others weren't, and I want them to understand that nobody's excluded. We're going to take applications from anybody, and we'll do it the same way they would. We'll get the most qualified, put them at the top of the list, and if we can get them, fine. If not, we'll start working our way down the list until we find somebody that we can accept and they can accept the position. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
I hope it's easy. I just don't think it's going to be, but I hope it's an easy thing. But we need to be professional about it, organized about it, and get at it and get it done.
Just give me a call whenever you.
Okay, I'll do that. Anything you need from us?
No, not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
Just to give you a little update, after you and Lucas and Joe met out there at the bridge, Joe got back with Lucas. I went out today, shot some grade, took some measurements, and sent them all that. So hopefully they have the abutment. I don't know if you talked to Jim and Bruce
No, I
about
haven't
it or
talked to
not.
No.
I figured you probably had some.
No, the boys that went out and jackhammered that concrete face off of there, well, on the blueprints, it was supposed to drill 18 inches into the wall and tie it together and put a new wall in. 4.5 feet up, there's nothing to drill.
No
There's
wall.
dirt
It's
and
all
roots.
Jeez.
Mud.
Okay.
There's nothing left, it's fallen completely apart. So they're gonna have to actually pour a new whole new
Okay.
abutment. So it's on hold until the blueprints is done for the abutment, so.
Well, it's a blessing we found that didn't just fall in with somebody and collapse.
I honestly can't see what was holding it up, other than that piece of concrete was in a bind with that arch, because as soon as it fell, the bridge would have been in the water.
And there's no way you can see that. You don't
But
see it until you
anyway,
go
if
take the face off.
If anybody asks, that's why it's on hold,
Okay.
everything else is ready,
Okay.
all the timber that was taken out of it has been cleaned, the nails stored, it's stored at the shop and covered up, so it's a matter of.
Any
as
idea
soon
of
as they
time
get-
frame to get
As soon as
this?
the blueprints is done, that's
Yeah.
all they're waiting on.
Right. Any idea of how long that might take?
I was, the way Joe told me, get it done fairly quick.
Oh, good, because it was
Yeah.
really long.
He knows it has to be on fast
Yeah.
track, I mean,
Okay.
can't sit there forever.
Okay. Well, it's good to know, and thank God nobody got hurt. Or the bridge destroyed, so. Okay. Well, I got nothing else, and you
That's
don't.
another good thing with taking the bridge off of there.
It is. Never would have seen it.
Well, the bad
Well-
thing is, who knows how long it will sit there on I-beams, and then you get a flood, and it would
Yeah.
wash it away,
Yeah.
so.
Yep.
It's what it is, it's.
Ain't nothing easy with those things. Well, you're doing well. I'm glad you found it. Nothing else for us?
No, that's all I have.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Okay,
You counting days yet?
yeah,
Are you?
yeah.
You got a number?
Well,
No, not there yet.
something.
Okay. All right. And those are all vacation days, right?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, let's have lunch and we'll figure out what we're gonna do, and I'm counting on your help to do that, because I know you want it done right too, and I don't wanna just us have to just pick somebody out of the air, so we need to do this.
Yeah,
In the right
give me a call
manner.
and We'll
Okay.
try to get something done.
Well, we could just leave it to Randy to hire somebody, and we wouldn't have to do that then. Okay, appreciate it, Randy, thank
Okay,
you.
take care. Have a good evening.
I don't think he wants to walk away with enemies.
No,
No.
Julie doesn't have anything that wound up on Chris's.
all right. Got Chris already taken care of. Jason Frazier.
I just have a couple things. I have a request for grant application. It's for National Night Out to the Community Foundation in the amount of $6,000. I think I emailed this to you last week.
We got it.
I got it.
So I just need your permission to pursue that grant.
Okay. I make a motion, we approve the sheriff to pursue a grant from the foundation for the $6,000 grant to cover National Night Out.
And I second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Thank you. And next, we're having issues with our medical company, inmate medical company. So I need your blessing to start the process in canceling that contract.
My understanding from your email that they're only still in business with a handful of counties, other counties let them go?
Yeah.
Right. So it's just not a problem with us?
Several counties.
Okay,
And I think I emailed you the problems we're having.
yes, you did.
But right now, I just wanted to get permission to start the process of canceling that.
Okay.
We give them a 30-day notice.
Okay, and you and Nick have been in contact, I know,
Yeah.
about how to proceed, make sure we're covered and
Yeah,
what we're doing.
and then probably the next meeting, I'll have the new contract with the new company
Okay.
to present to you guys.
Okay, is there a motion to authorize him to begin the process?
I make a motion, you can start the process to do away with the ones you need and work on getting the others.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're good.
That's all I have.
Thanks, sir.
I have something.
Okay.
The copier contract,
Uh-huh.
Andrew has come in.
Andrew Gower?
And we've gone with him, and Connie is trying to get in touch of the one that we have.
Okay.
That we can't find the contract
Sure.
to. And so they're both gonna be working on something, so
Okay.
eventually I'll have something.
Great, great. That was, I just had the name of the company that we were with. For all the
Rico.
What was it?
Rico?
I think it was.
It's Rico,
Yeah.
but the local office has shut down and we're dealing with the corporate office and we don't get very much.
They can surely find a contract. If not, we'll just quit paying it and then they'll find the
Yeah.
contract real quick, so we'll be okay. Yeah.
But we're telling them that they can present a bid too, but.
Yeah, sure, yeah, yeah. Well, it's good to know where we are. The contract was just lost with the last administration, so, okay. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay. Katie's on the list. Does she have anything?
No.
Katie Potter, okay.
Though those people are always on the list.
Okay, all right. All right. Let's see what this stuff is here. What's this commercial radio?
Oh, that's what we signed.
Yeah, for Chris.
Chris,
over
I
there.
had it
Chris.
down on
Oh,
Julie.
okay, okay, okay. I just wanted, I couldn't remember what that was for. Okay. All right, Marcy, you're up.
Okay,
If you don't know Marcy, why don't you come up so he can get you on camera someplace? Maybe drag your chair up here, just have a seat.
I think he can right here.
Can you? Okay.
I think.
We'll make it
From what I saw on Randy anyway.
We'll make it work.
Marcy is one of those individuals that you never hear her name, you never see her, but the work she does is tremendous. She's really involved with the county with child care and child education. I know you don't get enough thanks, other than maybe those happy little faces dealing with you, but we appreciate what you do.
Well, thank you. I'm just here to provide you all with an update since we met in June at our kickoff event. Since then, we've participated in a couple of community outreach events, basically just to raise awareness about the importance of early childhood education, as well as try to recruit new child care providers and find new interests, because as everyone knows, we have very few options here in the county for child care. I've also been able to establish a home provider networking group. So far, we've had 3 sessions, and our attendance has grown at every one of those sessions. So our home providers are meeting, but we're also inviting individuals from the community who might be interested in starting a child care or pursuing licensing or even pursuing a degree in early childhood education, because we can share information about scholarships and things like that. Plus, it gives them a chance to meet people who do it every day, and they can go into a child care site and see what it's all about. So we've had a lot of success with those. What keeps me most busy is just on social media, putting ads in the paper and through flyers, just trying to recruit new child care providers, find new interests. There's all the time people on social media saying that they babysit at their homes. Well, I'm trying to track those people down and talk them into getting licensed, or at least becoming legally license exempt, so that they can take CCDF vouchers.
How difficult is that to get licensed?
It depends on which route you take. And a lot of people honestly don't want 12 children in their home.
Yeah.
The other part, there's expenses that go along with it.
Do you have to take 12 to get licensed? Is that what it is?
There's different types of in-homes. So the first one would be a class 1, and that would allow you to have 10 children by
Okay.
yourself.
Okay.
And then there would be a class 2, which you could have up to 16 children with help.
Okay.
So, and that would be ages 0 through 12 years is what you would be licensed for.
Can't imagine, how do you do 10 by yourself?
Yeah, I do it every day.
Do you really?
Yes, I'm down to 10 because help is very hard to find. So even though I'm licensed for 16, I've had to drop down to 10 just because I struggle to find employees. So
What age span do you have personally?
I have right now, my youngest is 6 months and my oldest is 10. So,
10 months?
No, 10 years.
10 years.
You're going from 6 months to 10 years.
Yes. So, and how I work mine is I do have before and after school kids, but I have a set amount of children who just come in for preschool class only. So they're there in that morning slot and they leave, and then my after schoolers will come in to take those slots. So
Do you have duct tape or what do you do?
yeah, you gotta keep them busy.
I bet you do.
So
Oh,
that's the key.
sorry, I didn't want to
Oh,
interrupt.
no,
I'm just
interrupt
amazed by
all you
those
want,
numbers.
because I have a lot to ramble about here, so, and ask questions, please. So once again, I've just been trying to find those people who are already babysitting in their houses and just trying to get them to get licensed, or like I said, legally licensed, exempt, or they could at least help out our voucher families here in the county, because we have people here who are eligible for vouchers from the state, but there's nowhere for their kids to go, so.
If we had a freestanding entity, we've talked about how, and Cindy too, about one of the difficult parts are all of ours are privately owned, and when
Yes.
that individual quits doing it, those seats just go away. We don't have a board-controlled ongoing entity that does that kind of thing. But if we did, those people who want to babysit in their home and do those kinds of things, would they be hireable to come and work at that kind of an entity without the license?
They would need to work at a center, they would need to get what's called a CDA certificate, which is basically for college level classes.
Okay.
And you can take that, you can take a formal CDA, which would be like through Ivy Tech or a college, or you can take a non-formal CDA, which would be through Indiana AYC. But basically the classes, they walk you through the classes. They're not anything extreme. And then at the end of it, you will make a portfolio, submit it to I think it actually goes to DC, and then they sign off on your portfolio, and then you get approved for your CDA. But you have to have that renewed every 3 years, I think, unless they've changed it. It used to be 3 years.
Is that another class to renew it then?
Yes,
Okay.
but it's just like, you have to keep up with your training hours, basically. You have so many hours to get to renew your CDA every 3 years.
Are those online hours?
You can get some of them
Okay.
online,
Okay.
yes. So I've been working, trying to locate those people, and yes, they would be eligible, especially for teachers' assistants. They could probably, there used to be a loophole, I think it is still there, where you could employ them, but within a certain time period, they had to apply to the CDA program. So I think it was maybe like a 6-month window maybe, or something like that is what it used to be, where if you were employed, you had to apply for the CDA certificate. But that would be for center-based. In-homes are not that way.
Okay.
And then also, I have made contact with Elisa Shelsky. She's the educational professionals instructor for North Central Park School District and Southwest Park School District, just to see if she had any students who were interested in pursuing a career in early childhood versus elementary ed. She said most of her students are wanting to go for elementary ed, but she said she has a few who would be interested in early childhood. So through our provider networking meetings, some of our providers have said they would be willing to let those students come out to their sites to observe and get their hours in that way. I actually have one girl who's coming to my house right now, and then there's another girl who actually, she works for me part-time after school, but she is also part of that and interested in pursuing a career in early childhood. So Delisa knows that we exist now, so hopefully maybe we can grow some new interest in the early childhood field. And then,
Are there any
go ahead.
scholarships that you're available? You were talking about scholarships. Are there
Yes.
scholarships available?
Actually, there is a it's an amazing scholarship. It's called Teach, which I've been a Teach recipient all the way through my education. I owe nothing. I have no college debt because of it. But you have to, the requirements for it are, if you own your own child care, so say you own a family child care, you have to work in that child care, it has to be licensed 30 hours per week, and they will pay 90% of your schooling. and that goes with including your books.
Wow.
So, and they will take you, right now they have funding from a CDA certificate they will pay for all the way up through your master's degree.
And who are they? Who's they?
It's Indiana Association for the Education of Young Children is
Wow.
who
I
sponsors.
didn't even know
the
such a
scholarship.
thing existed
Yeah.
even.
So it's a great scholarship. The only downfall to it, which turns a lot of younger kids away, I think, is you can only teach the max that they will pay for is 3 classes at a time, just because they're requiring you to work 30 hours a
Right.
week to get it. So it's going to take them longer, but in the end, you're not going to.
They're working anyway,
Yeah.
so.
Pay as much, right?
Yes, and they partner with Ivy Tech, St. Mary's, I think ISU is in it now, Ball State, Indiana Wesleyan. So that scholarship goes for all of those. I know there's more, but those are the ones that I can think of. And then I organized a meeting for Mr. Shemp, the superintendent of North Central Park. I met with him and chances and services for youth, and on my way pre-K to discuss the implementation of pre-K for North Central Park schools, which would be a huge thing.
Yeah, he was just at a redevelopment meeting and talking
Yes.
about that. I was just getting ready to ask you about him, because he explained how the building had to be attached to the building and
Yes.
some of the requirements on that, but just exactly what that do, would that just be childcare for pre-school?
I think, from my understanding, what he would like to do would be started out small
Small.
and just start with pre-K,
Okay.
which would be like 4 or 5 classrooms,
Okay.
or age 4 or 5 classroom, and then if they can get it to go, then try to expand it from there into daycare.
Will it require licensed teachers or licensed childcare?
Licensing is weird for schools. They're not like family child care providers or centers. They're kind of their own thing. So their teachers, I believe the lead teachers for those programs would have to have a minimum of an associate degree.
Okay.
And then I believe the assistants, once again, would have to have the CDA certificate. Yes. Like I said, I think he would like to start it off small and then see where it goes from there. One thing that I mentioned to him was that if they did this program, in order for it to succeed, I think that they would have to go to all-day programs, because a lot of schools will do like half-day for preschool. Well, our daycare shortage here is so bad
Where are you gonna go?
that there's not going to be anywhere for them to go, because the family providers like myself are going to fill those slots.
Sure.
And so those children that go to the half-day program would either have to pay family child care providers a full rate to hold that spot, because we would not be able to survive on
Sure.
half-day rates for those kids. So that would be an issue. If they went to full day and then they could include them in like their after-school care, that would be a big benefit, because I know that a lot of my children need care up until 5 o'clock in the evening. So.
Oh.
And then transportation for those guys would be, a half-day program would be another problem.
Would the school have to provide that transportation?
They wouldn't have to.
Okay.
But
But somebody's got to.
somebody's, yeah, their parents would have to leave work, you know,
Parents would
or
have
there
to
would be
leave work.
transportation issues,
Right.
plus a huge daycare issue there as well, I think.
Okay.
Just because we only have, well, there's 6 of us now, 6 home providers in the county. And so to disperse those guys would be, I mean, you have the Rockville Christian Church, and I'm not sure how many children that they have. I don't know their numbers, because they're not state licensed, so they don't have to go off of the ratios that we do. But outside of that, there's really no after-school daycare. So that would be a huge issue for a half-day program. So I tried to stress the importance of full day with him. But there is a huge need for preschool. I get tons and tons of calls every fall about, there's nowhere for me to send my kid to preschool because, you know, the church is full and you're full, and there's just no options for it. So it's something that's really needed.
It's one of those things people, I mean, we talk about workforce and population, that's one of those things people just don't think about. You know?
Yes.
If you don't have a place to send your kid, you can't come here. You gotta go somewhere else.
And our kindergarten retention rates are pretty low, or pretty high, I guess, I should say. And I think that if we could get those preschools, even more preschools, not necessarily just in the schools, but more early childhood options for our kids, those would really help out with our kindergarten retention rates as well. And then another thing I've been up to, the United Way was very nice and gifted Parke County with a huge amount of infant and toddler furnishings. The Deming Early Learning Center decided to close out their infant and toddler program in Terre Haute. The United Way funded that program, so they gave all of those materials back to the United Way, and Dorothy Chambers was nice enough to ask us if we could use them. So I got them all organized and went around to all of our providers and based on their needs, passed all of that out to everyone. And Sue, our new child care provider in Rosedale, she was able to use a ton of that to get her new program going, as well as the new center that's going to be here in Rockville. So that was huge for us to get all of those furnishings. And then going on, like I said, the 2 new child cares, that's the exciting news. We do have 2 daycares that are open. One is already open and one will be opening soon. Sue Rogers, she opened a new child care in Rosedale called Steps to Be Stars. She is a family child care provider out of Parke County who owns multiple homes, multiple sites, but she decided to give Rosedale a try. There was a building that was available. So she's licensed for 12 children, and that's great for down there because Rosedale is the desert. There is nothing down that way, so I'm excited about that.
What does it cost a family to have a child all day in childcare?
Well, it depends on where you live. You can get online and you can look at the rates through the FSSA website. Indianapolis, you will pay $200 a week for your kids, upwards of that, and if they're infants, probably more. Here, I'm going to say the average is probably between $85 and $100 a week.
That's for all day?
Yeah.
Pretty
And,
cool.
Yes, and that's not enough, honestly. That's it's not enough to do it. Our rates should be higher here, but we
Don't have it?
we just try not to raise them because our families can't afford it. So the other new daycare is going to be the CAP. Is that the name, Cindy? CAP Early Learning?
CAP 2, I think.
CAP 2, okay. It's the new CAP Center. It's going to be located in the Head Start building on York Street. And the Parke County Community Foundation, Partnership Parke County and Community Action Program went together basically based on the data from our first initial study that we did to see what our need was. And they were able to get an early years initiative grant for $300,000 to open a new center over there. And that center is projected to house 32 spots. I think they're going to do an infant room with 8, a toddler room with 8, and then have a preschool classroom of 16.
I've seen pictures of those, Cindy sent pictures of those buildings that we used $53,000 from art money, and the foundation gave $53,000 toward that. So it's good to see that that money is actually creating things, and things are being done with that. It's nice to see.
It is, and I'm excited about that. I think that it will be huge for Rockville.
And they're hiring right now.
Yes, and they're hiring, which is going to be, as I know, a struggle, but they'll find some people. And last thing that I was going to talk about were just our 2 upcoming events. On April 13th, we're going to have an early childhood expo out at the fairgrounds. It's a free community event. We're just trying to bring all of our early childhood resources together in one place. We're going to try to raise awareness. We'll have provider resource tables. The child care providers, some of our child care providers are going to participate. And we will also have resources for anyone who is a new provider or anyone who's interested in opening a child care. Once again, we'll have resources available for them and lots of children's activities.
I've got that from 1 to 3, is that right?
Yes, it's from 1 to 3, yes. And I have the flyer over here if anybody would like to see it. And then also, which I haven't even talked to Cindy about this yet, but we are going to partner with Spark Early Learning. They're going to provide us with a training, and it's a free training, and we're going to make it a community training for families as well as child care providers. And I think I'm going to have the library help us out as well. The title of the training is going to be Engaging Children with Books and Stories. This can benefit parents just by, once again, raising awareness of those early experiences, and then it will also help our child care providers get their hours that they need every year for their license. So
good.
That will be coming up sometime in May. And that's all I have.
It's amazing. And it is such a huge barrier. I mean, it's just a huge thing. It's right up there with housing, workforce, everything else. You got to have that. So
it is. And I mean, like I said, I've had people from the school call me and tell me, we can't hire this teacher. Is there any way that you can take them? Because if you don't, we can't hire them. So it is a big problem.
Appreciate what you do. Thanks.
Great job.
Anything you need from us?
Well, one thing I know that would be helpful to a lot of providers is if Every year, we have to have a TV screen, and we also have to have CPR and first aid certification every year. And also, initially, you have to have a physical for employees. If the county would be able to foot the bill for those things through the health department,
Yep.
if that would be possible.
We have a new initiative right now that we just signed on with the governor's office where we have money coming in. Stephanie Laws is the
Okay.
the head of that, so
Okay.
that board. If you talk to Stephanie
Yep.
Laws, I'm sure they would be thrilled. I can't speak for her, but they're looking for county projects that
Okay.
benefit county people, and this would certainly be one of those. So I would run it past her, and I
Okay.
bet she can take care of that. If not, she can certainly send you to the right people who could.
Okay, yep, I will get a hold of her. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yep. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we already did the Donna Whitmer thing with the banners on the courthouse. Jackie,
Yes.
okay, what you got?
I own property there in Judson, and I bought the front half from Mr. Ireland. And there's 2 back lots, and I think somebody's got a copy that has the plot numbers that the town of Judson owned, but it's all Rockville.
So, town of Judson doesn't exist, so does Rockville own that now?
Rockville wouldn't own it.
I'd say Rockville.
So who owns it now? Does it show up on, have you gone to the assessor? It goes,
It's,
Should be
there's
some-
pictures
Tax
attached.
office. Have you
Because
got a copy of it?
So we dealt with this a couple of years ago. The town of Judson no longer exists,
Right.
but nobody went through the process of actually dissolving the town of Judson
Gotcha.
and dispersing their property ownership.
Okay.
And so right now, everything shows up in the town of Judson's ownership, but there is no entity that is the town of Judson.
Is that a township issue or a county issue to deal with that?
It would probably be a county issue, but nobody was able to come up with any documents when I was looking at it before as far as anything that transpired back then.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, none of the trustees for the town are alive anymore.
Sure. So should we just begin to get the numbers and get the parcels and begin to distribute those?
Well, what I'll have to do is, I had that statute at one point in time, but what I'll have to do is research that statute again and see what the process
Okay.
is. But my recollection is that it reverts back to the county, but there's actions that we have to take to make
Okay.
that happen. So,
All I can tell you is we'll work on that with something new to
Yeah,
us.
because
but-
it was me a couple years ago.
Okay, it's nothing that we want to have. We don't want to own a parcel in Judson to do that, so we will work that out, whatever we
the
have.
other problem
We'd rather have
becomes
taxes paid on it.
Yes.
the other
absolutely.
problem becomes if the county does own it and you guys want to sell it, you have to advertise it for
Right.
sale. You're
Right.
not able to just sell it.
Right, so we
Yeah,
will,
it's so little that,
Right.
we'll make sure we get that process started and try to get that Judson thing done, so at least you don't have to wait anymore. You've been waiting a long time.
okay. I hope.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know we owned it. Shoot.
Lisa did a lot of research and that's all the paperwork
Okay.
that's attached to it.
Yeah, it's,
Who did all that?
Lisa from the
Oh,
law
nice,
office.
nice. Well, thank you for that. Okay, let me see where else we are. Don Daniels.
Thank you, sir, for allowing me to have a few minutes with you.
Yep.
I was here 7 months ago, and you people told me that from the first of the year that it was already on budget, that you would be paving the right-of-way for Midway Road.
I'd have to disagree with that, because Midway's never been on my,
I beg your pardon?
Midway, as far as I'm aware, has never been on my radar as promising anybody we would pay that, because we don't make those decisions that far out. We have a process by which we decide which roads to pave.
Hold on one moment.
Okay.
I want to hear what you have to say,
Okay.
so I want to get over here.
I'm just saying that I don't have any recollection of ever promising that we were gonna pave Midway
It's in the
Road.
minutes, or it should be in.
I'd have to see that, because we just don't do that. We don't have people come to a meeting and then we promise to pave a road for them. That just doesn't happen. Maybe what you hear, but that's never what we say. We have a process by which we go through every year to determine which roads, and I don't
That's what you
recall.
told me last year.
And
I
I don't re-
apologize
Yeah.
for interrupting you, but that's what you told me last year.
Do you remember Midway ever being on there?
I remember him being here.
Yeah, I
I
do.
remember Brandy was in the conversation. I know they was talking about patching it and doing some
Right.
repairs. I don't remember it being on the list to be blacktop.
That's what I don't remember either. I don't recall that part.
Unless Randy had made a comment that something about maybe chip and seal, I don't have a clue.
I don't either. Wish
That's
you-
not ringing
wish,
a bell.
wish Randy was still here, we could clear that
The
up for
road
you.
is ringing a bell.
You know where that runs?
Mhm.
You have to close.
I was down today.
Okay, good. Okay, I've been there many times too. Okay. Well, we don't have an answer for you. I mean, I don't have any recollection or promising we've paved that, other than maintain as we normally do. Let me check with Randy, see if that's something maybe he has planned to pave himself rather than going through the community crossings. That's a possibility that we just wouldn't be aware of.
That isn't what I was told, sir. I was told by this committee 7 months ago that come the first of the year, it was already on the budget. Mr. Norman has already cleared the trash from that road, and he thinks anyway that it was going to happen this year. Well, after 30 years,
Yeah,
12 more months is
Yeah,
not acceptable.
I am.
And so all I'm asking is, if you will review the minutes.
Yep, we can do that.
And, but regardless of what the minutes might say from what I had recorded, I want to know if and when we're going to get the road redone.
We would never have a time or date to give you. That's why this is nothing I ever recall. There is no way we could ever give you a time and date unless it's something we've.
No, you didn't set a time. You set a perimeter of the first of the year. Now, I would love to have a time today, but I know I'm not going to get a time because there's too many hoops that has to be checked out.
I appreciate your recollection. It just doesn't mesh with mine. I don't have that recollection that we ever promised to do a road ever, but I will check with Randy. And do you remember when it was you were here? What month you were talking about when you came here? Was it 7 months ago exactly? So we can pull those minutes up and see if that's listed someplace, but.
I can't recall right off the top of my head, but it was the first meeting.
August or September?
It was the first meeting of that month, but.
Okay, we'll look at the minutes and see what we find on that. And that could be my recollection. I just have no recollection of ever making that deal with someone.
But again, I hope, what I'm afraid of is that we're going to just kick the can down the road a little further.
Well, and
I'm in hopes that maybe it's time that, I know that Mr. Norman's been out there many times, and he's taken pictures. He has looked at it, he has said that it was deplorable, but I understand Mr. Norman's position. The decision lies here. Here's where it starts. And I would, if...
Your ranks of people who would like to have their road paved would be full. We don't have enough money, enough time, enough manpower to pave every road. I don't recall ever indicating to you in any way that yours would be at the top of the list. I don't recall that, but we'll look and see if that was. Randy may have different plans. Now, Randy on his own may be talking about paving that with the county paving, which we don't do much of, rather than doing the community crossings. I have no recollection of that, but I will ask Randy today about that, if he has any recollection of that being said. I'll ask him. That's all I can do, because I can't recall either.
Yeah, I don't either.
Mr. Meeks, with all due respect, 7 months ago, you had the money for the first of the year. Now I hear you say, we don't have any more money.
I would just disagree with what you heard.
What I'm afraid of is that there's 18 people, 18 houses that live on that road. Some of them probably deplorable, some of them are not. But they deserve to be treated just like everybody else.
And everybody does. Every county does. I mean, every road does. So,
I agree.
So we're just going to have to disagree. I don't have any recollection of ever at any moment feeling we knew what the budget would be. We had the dollars in place to do your road. I don't recall that ever coming up. We don't do business that way. So maybe what you heard is different than what we said, because I can't speak for anyone else. I would never have told you that we had money in place and we were gonna do that road. That just would not happen, because I can't, because we don't know what the money's gonna be. Your road may not be the worst in the county. So that's why we have to go out and find twice a year we do that for community crossing the money. Let me talk to Randy. Maybe he has an idea that he can do that with his own budget, with his own paving, that wouldn't have to go through us. That happens sometimes, so maybe that's his plan. But as far as us telling you money was in place, we had a budget to do your road, that just never occurred.
I agree with everything you just said, 100%. But you did not say that I have X amount of dollars set aside for that road. I agree with that. You did say it is on schedule to be done the first of the year.
Okay. I don't recall that.
There was no figure, because naturally, the cost of material and everything else has to be figured in. But I do appreciate your time.
Always. I wish we could fix them all.
When would be the next time? Should I come back to the next meeting? Would that give you enough time to review the circumstance and situation, or the minute?
Nothing will change that I see. You're welcome to come to any meeting you want to come to. You're always welcome.
Other than we'd have an answer from Randy.
But maybe we would have an answer from Randy next time about if he had talked to you about planning on doing that with his own budget, with his own paving. And that's a possibility, because we don't decide for him on his budget what roads the county is going to pave. There are very few. Maybe he thought he would have enough in his budget. Maybe that's the budget, because you mentioned a while ago that we had told you that the money was already budgeted to do that. We don't do that. Maybe Randy, we do not do that. We do not budget how he spends his budget. That's what the highway superintendent does. So maybe he indicated that he had in his budget, in his plan to do that. I'll ask him to find out, but that would not be us, because we don't make those decisions. We don't do that.
I appreciate your involvement. I really do.
I'll talk to him.
I really hope that y'all take it to heart and think about those people as well as the church.
I can tell you, without a doubt, we take them all to heart. And you're anguished about 18 miles. I'm anguished about 400 miles. So
I understand.
I think I out-anguish you on those things, because I have more that I can't fix and you want fixed. I wish we could fix them all, but I will ask Randy. Maybe he has plans in his budget to do that. He's not shared that with us, but he doesn't always share all those plans with us. That's why we have a highway superintendent.
Yes, sir. There's over 800 miles instead of 400.
No, there's 740, and only half of those are paved. The other half are gravel. We're not going to pave a gravel road, so 400 was accurate. Yeah.
I don't know what else to say except thank you. I am disappointed.
Oh, I understand.
Because of not having the minutes or not remembering, but the need is still there.
Oh, everywhere. Countywide.
And it's become a hazardous need, because emergency vehicles can't even hardly travel it. Even my old pickup truck complains.
Yep, I understand.
So
I'll talk to Randy.
Thank you again, and I appreciate your time, and I hope that all of you will take to heart that road needs some attention.
We appreciate that. Thanks for bringing it for us. Okay, anybody else have anything? Yes.
I'm not on the agenda, sir. Just
anytime. Whatever you got. Oh yeah. What you got?
I've been here for 10 years. Bought a house out in Lake 2013.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a correct way? I've called the Parke County Highway about County 880. Every year I've lived here. My neighbors have. And just hearing that conversation, is there a correct way to communicate about the road, the County 880, which basically just dirt and potholes? What's the correct way to
report it to the highway department and have Randy come look at that? I don't know what the condition of the road is. That a gravel road or is that a paved road?
It's a dirt road.
Okay.
Gravel probably.
So it should be on a regular schedule to be graded, and should have dirt berm and stone on it. And if it doesn't, you need to contact the highway department and they will take care of that.
Okay. And we do as a neighborhood every year.
If you don't, and you don't have success in that, contact me, and I will contact Randy, see where we are with that.
Okay.
So that's all we can do. But every road should be graded on a regular schedule. There are 4 graders in the county, and they are on regular schedule to get every road
They do come by every year, it's worthless.
It should be more than just.
They fill in the holes, and the next rain, the potholes are same potholes.
It should be more than every year. I mean, it should be on a frequent basis. So if not, we need to know that too.
We even put chip and seal down ourselves, and they came in and took it all up and graded it out, so.
Well, if you put chip seal down yourself, now if you're talking about dust control.
Yeah.
Well, see, you're responsible.
Well, a little thicker.
You're responsible for dust control yourself for the potholes yourself, and if you don't maintain that, if you don't come get the materials to do that, then we have to grade those up and go back to the gravel road. If you have neighbors that have chipped into chip and seal, then that's a different story. Then we do maintain that. So I don't know by chip seal if you mean.
That's a matter of whether it's double or single.
Yeah, whether you put down dust control.
We didn't do it correctly.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's a possibility too. I mean, we do that every year as well. We people who want to pay for the materials, we do the work. You purchase the materials, and we will double chip and seal segments too. Thanks, Nick.
I gotta be careful, man.
So. I don't know what you did. I mean, I don't know how it was done. Did they just come with oil trucks and oil the road in front of you?
No, one of the neighbors had extra material that they put down, filled in all the potholes.
I gotcha.
Okay, so what?
Did about half of it. And,
Gotcha. Yeah. I would call them and see where it is. There is no road left undone intentionally. So if that road is not getting done more than once a year, then you need to contact the highway department. If you don't get satisfaction there, then contact me, and I'll be glad to talk to them and see where we are with that.
Thank you.
They do the best they can with what they got. It's just a big county, and we got a few things to do. We've got 4 graders to do those 4 quadrants of the county. And they are on a regular schedule. Every road should be hit in a reasonable time. I don't know how many weeks that is, but it should just be a matter of weeks between getting their schedule around and not just a yearly thing. We'll find out.
Thank you.
Those are all frustrating issues. I understand them well. Yes, ma'am. You going to have a report for us today, or are you just visiting today?
I'm just visiting.
Okay. Well, appreciate you coming. Anybody else have anything for us? Is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're all fair out.